Well, if you like an old-time football feel, this is the place for you. We're in South London at Selhurst Park. I'm Derek Ray, and joining me to provide expert analysis...
Hello, welcome back to Armchair Armory, and welcome to the preview for the Monday night football game, Crystal Palace versus Arsenal at Selhurst Park. So, what's been going on since our 2-1 win over Nottingham Forest on the opening day of the season? Sorry, I thought my mic was disconnected then, but I can hear myself, so that's good. Very professional of me. So just a little bit on the game last Saturday. Very good first half performance, almost scintillating first half performance. Timber gets injured, in which I'll talk about in a bit. Timber gets injured early on in the second half, and we kind of take our foot off the gas. We're not as kind of put together and fluid as we were in the first half. We concede a goal, which was a very good counter-attack from Forest, and we end the final 15-20 minutes in some ways quite nervy. I still think we had control of the game, because after that goal they scored, it didn't feel like Forest were going to get back into it. It felt like, if anything, we were going to score a third. But yeah, definitely a different... I was saying this to somebody literally the day after the game. I was saying how, after I'd done the match reaction on Armchair Armory and all that, I was saying to somebody how they said to me, you don't look the same as you did last season when you played Palace on the first day of the season, all this. I said, yeah, it's definitely not that. It's definitely different. I still think we performed well, and I'm not necessarily like sitting here thinking, oh my God, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know where this season's going to go and all this kind of stuff. But there are things that do worry me. As I mentioned, Jurriën Timber has pulled up injured 10 minutes into the second half, and it turns out it's an ACL injury, which means he's going to be out for 6 to 8 months. The earliest he could be back is February. If not, then it will be pretty much out for the entire season. And this is a big blow, because obviously he's not just come in to be cover for Zinchenko, because I even don't think he's somebody that can play left back normally. But I think the main reason why he was brought in, I think, was to cover people like Ben White and Saliba, particularly Saliba after we lost Saliba late in the season last season. So I'm really gutted about that. We've obviously managed to kind of bring about some depth into the squad. We've managed to add at least one player to each position, apart from maybe the right wing, because I don't think we've really got anyone to cover Saka at the moment. That's a natural right winger. So it's a little bit worrying, with Man United at home on the horizon at the start of September. Although they looked awful against Wolves on the first Monday night football of the season, they looked woeful. They looked really bad, and I was shocked at how bad they were. I'm very, very... I feel very sorry for Wolves that they didn't get anything out of that game, and they were robbed of a penalty as well. But yeah, it's worrying, put it that way. And as I said to this same person that I was talking to, who's a Newcastle fan, I said, I didn't say it to him. I said it to another Arsenal fan that I work with in my day job. I said to him, I don't think it's the first home game of the season that you need to worry about. It's the first away game. And what an away game to start off with than Selhurst Park, which is, apart from maybe last season, I think we've struggled there a lot over the past couple of years. Roy Hodgson back in charge now. It's obviously a manager that we have lost to a few times. We've beaten, when Patrick Vieira was the manager, we won. I think we drew one and lost one. No, we won one and drew one last season. So I think it's still going to be difficult. I mean, I watched the highlights of their first game of the season, which was against... I always forget. I'm so bad with this sort of stuff. Sorry, just bear with me. While I be totally ridiculous. Oh, Forest won their game yesterday. I didn't actually know there was a game on yesterday. But yeah, Sheffield United are in dire straits, to be fair. They won their game 1-0. And from what I saw, it felt like it was a one chance, one goal game again, and they were against Sheffield United, who, you know, have sold their best player and have sort of not really recruited over the summer. They look like the odds-on favourite to be the first team to go down. So yeah, it's hard to say whether or not they're the same Palace that we've played over the past, you know, couple of seasons. You know, the Palace that beat us 3-0 in Arteta's first season. The Palace that beat us, I think it was 3-1 in Wenger's last season. I think it's the Palace that beat us at the Emirates 3-2 in Emery's first season with us. So I'm not really too sure what to expect from the game. I have a feeling that, if anything, Arsenal will try to bounce back from, you know, that nervy 15 minutes at the end of the Forest game. And I think we just need to, it's a phrase I use a lot, but I just think we need to keep the momentum going, and we need to go into that Man United game with maximum points. And, you know, hopefully Man United have dropped a few points between now and then before the international break. At the start of the season, as I've said numerous times, and some people will say to me, well, why did you get into the whole football YouTube thing if you're not going to make predictions? I just feel like it's better to just sit back and watch and react sort of game by game, rather than, you know, say, oh, we're going to finish in the top 4, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Because I don't think it's as easy to say that we're going to be the only team that will challenge City this season. You know, I don't necessarily think Liverpool and Chelsea were great in that first game of the season, but I still think that Chelsea definitely look far better. I mean, they couldn't get any worse, but they look far better than they did last season, just in the space of 90 minutes. And obviously Liverpool, with a new look midfield and all of that, looks like, and with Luis Diaz being back and stuff like that, they look slightly better than they did towards the end of last season. So, you know, Man United, maybe, I mean, they've got Tottenham, I think, tomorrow or Sunday. I think they will potentially, it will be interesting to see what happens in that game, because also I don't think Tottenham look very good against Brentford. So I think it's too early to start making predictions. As I've been saying to people all week that have asked me about it, I think, you know, if we were going to go on form after the first game, we'd say Newcastle are going to win the league because they beat Aston Villa 5-1. But I just think it's kind of redundant to sit there and start making predictions literally after the first game of the season has started, when players are still not back to full fitness, where, you know, new signings come in and teams are still gelling and all that kind of stuff. So I don't necessarily think it's wise to sit here and start saying, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. I think maybe when we get to Christmas, that's when it's like, okay, it could go anywhere, or it's looking like this is going to happen. I don't necessarily believe that City looked great looked their normal selves, I should say, against Burnley. But they still came out and won 3-0. And from that, people say, oh yeah, City are definitely going to win the league now. It's too early to say. And that's why I was very shocked by the kind of overreaction, particularly on, you know, the usual places where you find overreaction, about us conceding a goal against Forest. Because even though, yes, it's disappointing that we didn't keep the clean sheet and we had that nervy 15-20 minutes, I felt overall 80, 85, 90% of the game we controlled, and we didn't look like we were going to give it away. I think it's just Arsenal fan PTSD, where every time we sort of like get into a situation where we're a little bit hairy, people come out of the stadium or turn off their televisions and they're like, oh, I'm really worried now. I'm really worried about this season. I'm really worried of what's going to happen because we conceded a goal. Because, to be fair, every single time we've been in a positive situation, something goes wrong. If you just take a look at last season, for example, you know, we're doing really well, 10 points clear, 8 points clear at the top of the league, looking like we're top of the league at Christmas, looking like, well, before the World Cup, looking like we're We're on the way to winning the league. We get to whatever it was, March, April, and we start dropping points left, right, and centre. We lose Saliba, start dropping points left, right, and centre, and we ended up losing the league by 5 points. Not as bad as I thought it would be, but still, we still lost the league by 5 points. So I get it, but I just don't think it's the time for overreaction. If we lose on Monday against Palace, and then lose the next game against Fulham, and then lose the next game against Manchester United, and then lose the next game against Spurs, and then lose the next game after that, or lose the first game of the group stage of the Champions League, then I'd be like, okay, there's something to worry about. But at this moment in time, I'm cautious because of the fact that we've lost Timber, who's probably, of the signings that have come in, has probably looked the best of the free signings or outfield signings that have come in. But I'm not panicking, put it that way. I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking at this moment in time. I don't normally panic anyway. Even in the darkest days of Arsene Wenger, I wasn't really panicking as such. There's always a point where I just become apathetic and I'm like, oh, well, that's it now. I think I've become a little bit more involved and a little bit more bothered since I've started doing Armchair Armory, but that's another story. So obviously the other thing is that David Raya was announced on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday Tuesday, because it was when I was in the office. Tuesday it was announced that he's been signed on an initial loan with an option to buy. Apparently that's something to do with financial fair play or something like that. Again, it's something I've got mixed feelings about. I think David Raya is a really good keeper. Probably one of Brentford's best players since they've come up, and particularly in that season where they were promoted. He was definitely one of their standout players. I think I remember him being on Arsenal's radar all the way back then, which was coming up to like 3 years ago now. So I'm pretty pleased that we've signed a good keeper. Matt Turner's now gone out and gone to Nottingham Forest. But at the same time, like, I don't think, I'm a little bit worried about the whole tension with Ramsdale. I'm not saying there is tension, but I'm worried that, like, the competition for number one may make Ramsdale leave. And I think one of the key components as to why we've become a more improved side over the last year is because of Aaron Ramsdale. And, but then again, knowing, modern football fans, as soon as Raya has a few good performances in a cup game or something like that, we'll be saying that he should be starting over Ramsdale. As soon as Ramsdale makes a mistake, bring in Raya, because we're just reactionary nowadays. But I really don't want to see Ramsdale go, because, as I said, I think he's been a key after everything he's been through. I think he's definitely been a key component. Think about when he came in and people were giving him dog's abuse because of the fact that he played for teams that got relegated. And this is what I'm saying about, toxic fandom of, like, especially in the kind of quote unquote big clubs, the big six. When a player comes in that's played for kind of a a team that's in the mid-table or relegation fodder or whatever, they immediately write them off as like, oh yeah, they're going to be shit. Why are we signing them? And then look what's happened with Ramsdale. He's become, to me anyway, one of the key components as to why we've improved as a side, I believe. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it develops, but I just hope it doesn't become another one of these Arsenal player dramas, like Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil and Aubameyang and all that, and players like that. Henry towards the end when it was like, will he go, won't he go, and then he eventually went to Barcelona. Van Persie, like, I don't want it to be another one of those sagas where we're coming to every single transfer window thinking, oh, is Ramsdale going to leave because Raya's playing more or whatever. To be honest, I don't actually think this season Raya is going to play more than Ramsdale. I think Ramsdale probably will be the Premier League goalkeeper. I think what will happen is Raya will probably be the cup goalkeeper. So I can imagine he'll probably play in the Champions League. I can imagine he'll probably play in the FA Cup and the League Cup. That's sort of how I see it going. But, I might be wrong. I don't know. going back to the game, it's going to be a hard one to predict. Like, I can't really think. I think we will win the game. I think we will win the game. I think it's one of those ones where people are worried because of the fact that we conceded a goal relatively easily against Nottingham Forest, and yes, Wilfried Zaha has gone now. He's gone to Galatasaray, which maybe it was a year too late, because I think he probably should have left Palace a long time ago. But they've still got dangerous players like Edson Edouard and Michael Elise and what's it called, Eze, and people like that can do damage and can score goals. And regardless of, it's not a team that you take lightly, and they're particularly good at home. Like, Selhurst Park has one of the most hostile atmospheres in the Premier League, so it's not going to be easy. But I think we're going to concede again, because that seems to be something we do. So I'm going to say that we're going to win the game 2-1. The sim that you're watching was actually harder than I thought it was going to be, because the stats on FIFA sort of determine who's going to win and who's not going to win. But yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, that's what I think. 2-1 to Arsenal. And also, will we see Thomas Partey at right back again with this Timber thing happening? Will we see, and because we don't know whether Zinchenko is up to full fitness, we don't know whether Gabriel is up to full fitness. So will we see Partey at right back again? I sure as hell hope we don't. Because even though in some ways it worked against Forest, I don't think it should be something that we're doing, ad nauseum, essentially. So yeah, 2-1 Arsenal is my prediction. I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back again after the game on Monday with my thoughts, and hopefully in a good mood because we've won. Right, as always, take care and stay safe.
Martin Odegaard.
Anderson. And it comes down to the final 5 minutes. Kai Havertz. And possession lost, intercepted. Now can they create something? And still a chance. And thumped away. And the keeper hangs on at the second attempt.
Well, he's done really well, hasn't he? Great stop, and then the reaction.
Well, far from the ideal pass, you've got to say. And he might be through here. Well, that effort was always going wide. He's not going to be best pleased with himself. So 2 substitutes to come on in one go. And the referee decides enough is enough. It's the end of the game. Arsenal victorious. That's the main headline from this one.
Well, fairly comfortable in the end, wasn't it? Thought they controlled the middle of the park well. Going forward, there was some really nice incisive play too. It's a good result for them.
Well, a good performance as usual from Martin Odegaard. How would you sum up his contribution?
Well, he gave that back line a torrid time, didn't he? He was far too sharp for them, always looking to play on the shoulder, took his goals well too. Clearly the difference maker today.
Potentially one to savour. Arsenal get this game underway. An attack full of promise. And he's broken free. Oh, he saved it.
Well, excellent from the keeper. That's a really top-class save.
Can he find the net? Oh, really commanding goalkeeping. And he's gone for power, so close to finding the net. And Kai Havertz, can they take the lead? The save was a good one. Well, very effective play in possession. He's got to score! That's high-level goalkeeping.
Well, that's a fantastic save. He's such a good keeper.
Eberechi Eze on the ball. Is this the moment? And a goal it is, but offside is the verdict.
Well, it's a good...
Schloop. Oh, his eyes lit up, thinking it was about to be the opener.
Well, just a lack of composure. He should score there.
Superb block. It's got to be! Well, the keeper committed himself. They will now make use of their substitutes bench. Martinelli. And return to Havertz. And there it is! The deadlock has been broken. We wondered if and attempting the through ball. Well, relying on the goalkeeper.
Well, there's not long left now, but that just about keeps them in it.
Well, they've just... Let's see about the delivery. And a goal! That's his brace! They just can't kick. And he might be through here. Well, that effort was always going wide. He's not going to be best pleased with himself. So two